Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the Cycling Dane Extra channel, and today we are starting our transfer talk of 2026. Obviously it's talking about riders for the next season. We did a 2025 season last year as well. That was very fun. But yeah, both of us, Patrick Blake and myself, love transfers, love the rumours, and we're back to do it all over again. But I mean, Patrick, in terms of just last year, what was your favourite transfer that came out of the season?
Oh, my word. Is it just me or are there just like not that many transfers going on? I can't even think of one that was like...
Maxim Van Heels?
Yeah.
That was like the last past the deadline almost.
Yeah, Van Heels is a cool one, but yeah, it was kind of past the deadline. He hasn't quite hit the ground running as much as I would have hoped, I suppose.
Ewan as well seems to be in the shortest transfer ever, retiring.
Come on,
Took those 2 stage wins, signed quite late, and then over.
Yeah, that is quite a sad story, isn't it? I don't even know where that really came from, because it all seemed like the signs were quite good. But he was sort of on his way back. He got that stage at Basque Country and Coppi Bartoli, and then bang! Just out of nowhere, retirement statement. Definitely not something that I was expecting. I haven't actually read the statement, to be fair, so I won't pass comment on that. But have you read it? Is there a reason? Is it just...
It's quite long. It's just thanking friends and stuff like that, and achieved everything you wanted in the sport, which is fair enough.
Yeah, that is fair enough.
But, I mean, we might as well start. Well, you didn't really give me your favourite transfer. You could say Tom Pidcock as well. I thought that was quite a refreshing one in a way, but that was kind of rumoured for like the back end after that snub at Lombardia.
I thought of one.
Simon Yates?
Nah, Paul Cesas to Decathlon. Did good at Tour of the Alps. That's a cool one.
But anyways, we might as well almost start this series how we ended it last year. Remco Evenepoel. I don't know how many episodes we were talking about this, but he's here again. Yeah, so recent article has shown that there is interest for Remco Evenepoel. There was a lot of talk about him almost every year, the double Olympic champion, world time trial champion. But yeah, there's 2 teams in the running, apparently. Ineos Grenadiers, but they seem to be in the running every year for Remco. And Decathlon AG2R, which seems quite strange. Obviously, they're saying that he's not going to be signed for 2026. It is going to be for 2027, as his contract is still with Soudal Quickstep. But there is a bit of question mark over this now, because there is no more Patrick Lefevere in the team. As we know, he retired last year. So does that have the sway? Mikel Landa staying with the team, so that's good, but it's an aging Mikel Landa, as much as we all adore him. But Patrick, what do you make of this? Remco Evenepoel, is he just going to stay at Soudal Quickstep, or do you think that could be something that, I don't know, tempts him away? And let's just remind ourselves, allegedly he turned down a €10 million offer a year to join Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe last year and didn't do it.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like a big deja vu right now, talking about Remco once again. Decathlon's a weird one. That's not the first name which was popping into my head, but they do really seem to be on a bit of a, I don't know, just an absolute hell-bent mission to really shake things up. And like I said, Paul Cesas, he's a huge talent for the future. It'd be interesting to see if Remco did go there, sort of how that dynamic works. Obviously, Remco's, 6 years his senior, so I reckon it'll be fine. But yeah, Decathlon's not the first one which comes to my mind. I mean, Ineos, I suppose, makes sense. They are still looking for that Grand Tour contender, and I don't think they have it at the moment. So they're still looking for that guy to, really compete for the podium or compete for the win of the Tour. I just think the problem is that even if they get Remco, I don't think he's a guaranteed Tour de France winner, because last year he was shown to not be up to the standard of Pogačar and Vingegaard. So you're basically just buying a guy for 3rd place as opposed to, 7 for 6th place with Carlos Rodriguez, I suppose. But I guess from Remco's perspective, what does he want out of this? Does he think that joining Decathlon or the Ineos Grenadiers is a move up from Soudal Quickstep? Do they provide him with something that Soudal Quickstep doesn't? I don't think that Soudal Quickstep is necessarily a bad team for him. I can't think of an occasion where Soudal Quickstep have really done bad by him or done anything which has caused him to lose a race. I think they're a fine team for him and they've brought in riders to support him. I can understand why other teams want to buy him, but I wouldn't understand why Remco would want to leave Soudal Quickstep.
So you think he would kind of be fine staying, but I mean, if he did go to, let's say, Ineos Grenadiers, instead of having Louis Verake, having Mikel Landa, I mean, Landa was great last year in the Tour, let's be honest. 5th place. He was many times the last kind of non-podium rider there, or teammate on that front. But aging Landa, Jan Hurt left the team as well. That was quite a big blow in the mountains. They didn't seem to reinforce the team with more climbers. You would have loved to have seen someone like Simon Yates join the team instead of going for Visma Lease bike, for instance. And they have obviously gutted a lot of their classics team in favor of the Remco Evenepoel project. So if he does leave the team, the team's nowhere. They're basically, I don't know, headless chicken in a way. But what does it do for him if he went to Ineos Grenadiers? He would be on Pinarello as well. I'm not a complete bike tech person. Is the Pinarello time trial setup better? I mean, he's won world titles, he's won Olympic titles on the Specialized. Decathlon do not ride Specialized, they ride Van Rysel. I think if you've been with that brand so long, and that was one of the reasons why we thought maybe the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe thing could happen. And it's all these bikes, they're all top echelon in terms of their spec and everything, but it's also the personal contract with the brand, things like that. We've seen Specialized has personal brand deals with Contador in the past and Peter Sagan. So I think that has some influence on it as well. And I don't think Ineos are going to switch to Specialized for Remco Evenepoel.
I swear I saw somewhere that something about Ineos switching to Specialized if Remco did go there.
Okay, I'm wrong there. I'm wrong. Just disregard what I said about Ineos.
That would be a huge thing, though, for such a long-term partnership, which goes back to the Team Sky era of the sport as well, to kind of break that off. Just for a rider who, no offense, Remco is fantastic. He's a world champion in both disciplines. He's an Olympic champion. But for a guy who isn't a guaranteed Tour de France winner at the moment in the current era, it seems like that'll be a big switch to break ties. But also, you just don't know. Remco might, it's all to do with not just the bikes and the team around him. It's all the, it's all the bad behind the doors stuff as well that we as fans don't see about all the, the work that goes in behind the scenes and the culture of the team and stuff like that. And you just don't know whether if Remco prefers or Remco's on low, if he did start to fall out of favour with Soudal Quickstep for whatever reason, with Lefebvre not there, maybe he doesn't like it as much. There's a big thing of culture and just actually liking where you are and that having an influence as to whether you want to go somewhere or not.
I definitely think Ineos can match whatever offer Soudal Quickstep put on the table for him money-wise, so I don't think it's a money thing. And if you turn down Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, Quickstep, if they really want to keep Remco Evenepoel, they just need to sign some better sign more riders that can help him. And Ian van Wilde is also up for grabs as well. So if he disappears because he's trying to get out of the shadow of Remco Evenepoel, then there's going to be some question marks as well, because who do they have left really? James Knox, Matteo Cattaneo, aging Mikel Landa. They didn't sign Rafa Majka, which I was far too enthusiastic about last year. So I don't know, in terms of on the market, who could you see them snapping up to keep Remco Evenepoel and get stronger chances for themselves as well?
Yeah, I guess you mean in terms of climbing talent, I suppose. Adam Yates, obviously very good for Pogacar, but maybe Yates is looking for more of his own personal opportunities. So whether he'd be happy going somewhere else, because Yates has refound himself as a big GC contender, and maybe he's like, okay, I don't want to go be a domestique anymore. I want to go do my own thing. I would say Lipovitz, but part of me thinks that as a German rider, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe and him are going to come to an agreement to keep him on. He is pretty much the biggest German talent. I'd be quite surprised if he moved. Kelderman, possibly, from Visma Lease bike. Probably no. Woutpoels will probably stay. Walter, Dunbar, Ben Tullett. Actually, am I just listing the Visma Lease bike team at the moment? That's kind of feels like what I'm saying.
The point is, there's quite a few options that they could go for. If they get Adam Yates, I think Adam Yates has had his moment in the sun. He's found this niche of being a super domestique. And if they got him, the guy who was the right-hand man for Tadej Pogačar. I would throw any money at getting Adam Yates if I was Soudal Quickstep. That could be the guy. Pure climber, has the knowledge of UAE, was used phenomenally last year. It looks like we've just created our own wish list here. But I think they need a rider like him or some good climbing talent. But as you said, there's quite a few there. Decathlon AG2R,
what do you think he would go there?
I mean, at this point, we're interested in signing Remco Evenepoel if we can just throw ourselves into, if anyone can just wish anything.
I'll pay you 2 coffees a week. That's all I can offer you at the moment. And yeah, who knows where Remco end up going. I mean, this saga will continue. Like, we will continue talking about this next year as well, unless something gets signed up this year, because like you say, this isn't a deal to be done this year for next year. These are pre-talks for next year to be happening in 2027, the move. So
what a way to start a 2026 transfer series by talking about something that's not even this year. But one guy who is this year, Olav Kooij, you're a big fan of him. You kind of were rallying his get to a Grand Tour start, and he did so last year, winning a stage. So, I mean, yeah, your faith in him repaid. But yeah, talks about him leaving Visma Lease bike. Obviously, he's kind of not really a rider in the right team in a way when you think about who Visma Lease bike are. They're a GC focused team. But yeah, teams rumored with him: Bahrain Victorious, Decathlon AG2R, Ineos Grenadiers last year, potentially this year as well. Especially now with Caleb Ewan gone, do Ineos need a sprinter? Well, we spoke last year about Mads Pedersen, that you thought he would be a really good fit for the team. Another rider who's out of contract, but I think Lidl Trek are going to throw everything at to keep him. But yeah, Olav Kooij, where do you see him kind of fitting in? I mean, Bahrain Victorious kind of fits. Decathlon AG2R, they've got Sam Bennett. Ineos, no Caleb Ewan now.
All 3 of those teams do make sense. Bahrain is a strange one, right? I don't know why. I have this belief that Bahrain are like this absolute, like, kind of upper echelon team. But when you start to go through their roster, you go kind of like, oh, actually, their depth of talent isn't that great. Their best sprinter is Phil Bauhaus, would you say? I'm trying to think through their team. It'll be a messy sprint that Bauhaus wins in there. It'll be like a Polonia or something, you know?
Or Tirreno last year where Philipsen crashed in the last corner and then he was the one who won.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. So I think Bahrain would make sense. They're not resplendent with sprinting talent, so I think that would make sense. And they do have a decent-ish lead out. So yeah, I think Bahrain would make sense. Decathlon, I suppose, also makes sense. They do also have a pretty decent lead out train, you know, for Sam Bennett. I guess you just smack Kooij in there instead. Yeah, and Ineos makes sense as well without Caleb Ewan. Yeah, it makes sense. Something that I forgot to mention with Remco, obviously, with Geraint Thomas retiring, there's this almost budget, I suppose, that Ineos can spend on new riders. And if that's not going to be Remco for next year, then they could certainly go with him as for just next year. But they all make sense. Ineos, I suppose, would be good because then they actually get to compete in sprints, which they don't really do. And I think that'll be good for them. But I think, Bahrain and Decathlon all make sense for sure. So
what makes sense for Olav Kooij? The figure of 2 to 3 million euros has been thrown about. I would say red flag with Ineos Grenadiers immediately being a Grand Tour team most of the time. You would think Olav Kooij wants to go to the Tour de France. Bahrain Victorious, definitely he could slot in there. Decathlon AG2R for sure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. The main thing which is going to be enticing Kooij to leave is that Tour de France start, which he still hasn't been given. Okay, he's only 23, but we live in a rather crazy era of cycling where young talent gets increasingly large numbers of opportunities in big races, and with Visma Lease bike so hell-bent on getting Jonas on the top step of the Tour de France again, the likelihood is that Kooij will not be given that Tour de France ride, or if he is given it, it'll be with minimal sprinting support. Therefore, a move for Kooij makes a lot of sense. I would be quite surprised if he stays at Visma Lease bike. I think he will be moving. But like you say, okay, Decathlon, they don't have a big GC contender, I would say, at the moment. So they could throw everything at him, basically. Bahrain Victorious, are a little bit more 50-50, where maybe they might try to send to Berry in the future to the Tour, because they seem to have a lot of hope for him. But they could be quite good at a split train strategy, or like a sprint train mountain. But I also wouldn't say that Bahrain Victorious have the biggest pedigree of sprinting. So it's kind of like a weird one where I would have thought that, I don't know, a team with a bit more sprinting prowess might be tempted to take him on. So although all three of those teams make sense and Kooij will want to leave, I still think, I'm not sure if either one of those is a perfect match.
But we might as well move on to former Jumbo-Visma rider, Primož Roglič. There was talks about this as well. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe rider, as we know now, but his contract finishes at the end of the year. I don't know what you make of this, Patrick. He will apparently still continue with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. Obviously, he's on a pretty penny as well, rumored to be around 6 million euros. Did win the Vuelta a España last year and won, not Paris-Nice, was it Dauphiné? And this year targeting the Giro d'Italia, as we know. Them signing Primož Roglič again, is that on the back of missing out on Remco, you think?
No, it could be, I suppose. Because Roglič he is a Grand Tour winner at the end of the day, isn't he? He's one of the few people in the current peloton who can win a Grand Tour. The Vuelta last year, obviously. The Giro this year, who knows? By the time of this, in a few weeks' time, we'll know. But I think you're right. Perhaps it's because they missed on Remco, they want to keep hold of Roglič, and that's sort of, that hasn't happened, therefore we need to keep Roglič, because he is our best shot at winning a Grand Tour. And I think it makes sense for Roglič to stay there. It's a team on the up. So ever since Red Bull's come on as well, they seem to just have really bolstered a really strong squad, and I would see no reason for Roglič to leave for anywhere else. The team's well set up, it's well drilled, and it seems to work for him. So I would see no reason for Roglič to leave. So I think it makes an awful lot of sense for Roglič to re-sign with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're still waiting for the Max Verstappen versus Primož Roglič up Alpe d'Huez video. Red Bull. So please come with that one, or him being thrown out of a helicopter on a bike with a parachute or something like that. They need to be a bit more entertaining with their cycling team. Come on, Red Bull. That aside, now talking about these wonder kids. 2008. I remember 2008, but this guy does not. He was born then. Benjamin Noval. And if any of you, because this name rung a bell with me, Benjamin Noval, his father used to ride for Tinkoff Saxo in services of Alberto Contador, while his son now is one of the hottest prospects in Spanish cycling, 16 years young, has already won races this year in the Trofeo Santiago Santana, and also an overall national under-23 race, and was 24th in the junior Paris-Roubaix as well. And he's also been very prevalent in the cyclocross scene. He actually finished 4th in the junior race last year in France, and that race seems to be very attractive to many of these World Tour teams, because the guy who won it is linked with EF Education EasyPost, and then also a Dutch rider, Maurice, who won the junior Paris-Roubaix, was also in that race. So a lot of eyes is going to be on the juniors World Cyclocross Championships in the future. But I mean, Patrick, what do you make of this Spanish Wonderkid? UAE, Red Bull, and Ineos are all lining up.
If the names of the teams going after the rider are anything to go by, then this guy's going to be absolutely insane by the time that he gets to World Tour. Isn't it just ridiculous, though, in a way? We're talking about a 16-year-old.
Well, it helps if your dad is a pro as well, because he's probably been training him since he was born.
Yeah, you get the contacts and stuff. Isn't he on a team run by Sammy Sanchez or something? I think that's the team that he rides for. So you just get those kind of contacts and the correct training and all that sort of stuff. It's really interesting at the end of the day. But at 16 years old, it's a strange one, huh? Because I'm not even sure at that point, can you sign? I don't think you can sign for a junior team yet at that point. Don't you need to be 17 years old to sign for a junior team? Of which, Red Bull have one, even if it's like a proxy. UE have their Gen Z squad, obviously, so they'll be able to sign him as well. But Ineos don't. So it's a bit of an interesting one as to how all that logistics sort of works out. But it's super exciting, isn't it, to see, and obviously the influence of the cyclocross results, how those seem to be weighing in more and more on teams' decisions on who to sign. And, cyclocross is no longer just this winter off-season sport where it's a bit niche and there's no real crossover. Van der Poel and Wout van Aert have have started something which can't be undone. It's like Oppenheimer. It just can't be stopped now. It's just cyclocross is now flooding into road cycling. There's nothing that can be done to stop the floodgates. So it's really interesting to see. And yeah, he'll certainly be watched with lots of interest, and it'll be super intriguing to see which of those big teams he decides to sign for.
Yeah, completely agree. And we'll see if the Morris Dutch rider, who won the Paris-Roubaix as well, if he'll be picked up, because he's not rumored with any teams yet. Nevertheless, we might as well get to like the final part where we just rattle off some rumors as well. Michael Matthews apparently staying at Jayco Ayula. Stefan Kuhn, which we talked about last year as well, linked with Tour de Pro Cycling again and UAE Emirates. Kevin Vauclan, second place at Flèche Wallonne, linked with Decathlon H2R. Arkea kind of a sinking ship as well, so yeah, that would be good for him to leave. One of the Baltic Cometa riders that you are quite fond of is linked with someone.
Piganzoli, you mean? Yeah, linked to Visma. It's a sad day. It's a sad day. It's just depressing, isn't it? You could just see him getting churned up in that god awful.
Joining the Visma Lease bike train.
Just goodness sake, we had such poise and promise. You know, we saw Piganzoli go to Red Bull, and I was like, that's a bit of an L. That sucks, but you know what? Piganzoli is a good dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Pelazzario. And now there's absolutely no hope. There's no justness in this world anymore, Scott. What else is going on? I don't care. But what else was it? Apparently Tudor, Jayco, or Ineos, because Ineos still want another sprinter. Moschetti to either staying at Q36.5 or going to Soudal Quickstep or Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. That'd be a bit weird. So that'd be like, if Welsford leaves, I suppose Moschetti would go to Red Bull. Otherwise, there'd be no point in having Welsford and Moschetti, two sprinters who can't climb, in the same team. That would be kind of silly. Kevin Vermaarke goes to UAE. Makes sense. I've been talking about Vermaarke for years. I do like him. He's a very good medium mountain guy, but again, just another person to the Ineos machinery. The UAE team machinery. I do think Soudal Quickstep, this is where I'll finish. They say Stuyven, Timo Kielik, and Edward Plancart are either going to stay at their current teams or go to Soudal Quickstep. Wouldn't it be interesting? Hear me out here. Still got this Mass Pedersen thing going on. So Stuyven's going. Imagine if Stuyven, Kielik, and Plancart all go to Soudal Quickstep and Pedersen goes. So Remco leaves, but Soudal Quickstep are trying to kickstart their classic squad by signing Stuyven and Pedersen.
I like that.
Would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think that could happen, you know. That's not beyond the realms of possibility to believe.
With that, that's basically it for our first transfer talk show of 2026/7, apparently. And make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what you thought of any of the rumors, and if you've heard any other rumors that we missed out on, we'd love to cover that in our next one as well. Who knows when that will be, but make sure to check out Patrick's own channel, I'll Do Cycling. Lots of good content over there as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.